Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching us BQ on Bloomberg Quint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
And I'm Alex Matthew. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you've got a question on equity, then this is a perfect show for you. You can send your queries to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. And you can also call us on 022-454-04141. You can also mail us on askbq@bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the AskBQ hashtag. It was a great Thursday, Navneet. It's turning out to be a great end to the week as well, as of now.
That's right. Finally, the bulls have taken charge of the markets. In the last hour of trade yesterday, there was a sharp bounce back, which continues in today's session. And most importantly, on the technical side, both Nifty, Bank Nifty are now trading above their 200-day moving average. Nifty round about the 200-day moving average, up about 125 points in trade. Bank Nifty very comfortably trading around the mark of 28,500, which is a gain of about 1.5%. And it's just not about the benchmarks. Even the broader markets have gone up in trade. So both mid-cap as well as the small-cap indices are seeing gains of 1.5% each. Pull up the market breadth. That's been in favor of the advances for the majority of the show, and that's majority of the session, pardon me, and that's pretty much good news because in the last many days we've not seen good market breadth. If you look at the Nifty contributors list, that's going to tell you which are the stocks which are contributing to the substantial gains that we're seeing. So it's all led by heavyweights. HDFC Twins, which nearly have 20% weightage on the index, is giving support to the tune of almost 43 points. Reliance giving support of about 16 points, and ICICI Bank also doing pretty well. What's capping the moves is ITC, Yes Bank, TCS, though they're not dragging the index lower by lot of points. ITC is a heavy weight, hence the reason why you're seeing that drag of about 6 points. Most of your sectoral indices are also seeing sharp gains today. But I just want to highlight a couple of gainers. It's all about the banking in the NBFC space, which is beaten down. So you've got stocks like Rbl Bank, which has bounced back quite sharply, 8.5% gains there. M&M Financial is up 5.5%. L&T Finance and Shriram Transport, all these stocks are seeing gains of between 5 to 6% each. On the losing side, some results reaction. NBCC numbers didn't look great at all. Revenues were down 16%. The bottom line tumbled nearly 38%, and the stocks fallen 11% post the numbers. And Page Industries, for the first time ever, the company's reported a volume decline of about 2%. The street's not too happy about it, 4% lower for that stock. MGL, though the margin growth was good, but the volume growth was not that great. Hence, the stock is down 3%. And something's happening at Birlasoft. Every day, the stock's been witnessing selling pressure and touching fresh 52-week low. So today also it's down about 5%. Just want to pull up the intraday chart of Hexaware. It did have a good opening. The numbers were pretty much good, which came in yesterday, but looks like the stock's given up its majority of the gains that were seen in the first half of the session. And right now, Hexaware trades just about flattish, managing to hold on to the gains.
All right, that's how the markets look, and those are the stocks that have been buzzing in trade today. Let's get our two experts in for the day. We've got Sharmila Joshi, who's an independent investment advisor, and Kunal Parar of Choice Broking, who's joining us for the first time in studio. Thanks so much for joining us, the two of you. I'm going to start by taking you through Kunal's picks for you. And there's one, in fact, technical pick. He says that you can consider buying Motherson Sumi at a price of 101.75. The stock is just a little bit above that. In fact, it's up and about in trade today. He says the target is 111.25, and a stop loss on this trade should be kept at 97.
Okay, so those are a couple of your technical picks which are coming your way. Before we proceed and take some queries, I just want to go across to Sharmila and take her view on what she makes of the bounce back we've seen since yesterday. And Sharmila, by now we know that there are some reports suggesting there could be government intervention on some of the policy measures which were announced before. There could be rollback with regard to FBI surcharge as well. But fundamentally, tell us, if something comes out or doesn't come out, what should one do at current levels with the markets?
Well, I think the most heartening thing about this market, the run-up we are seeing today is the fact that this is a follow-up on the move we saw yesterday. So, I think that it seems to suggest that market is quite short, and which is why we are seeing a further pullback. So I think honestly, if nothing comes about, then there could be a bit of a disappointment, and perhaps people would start going short again. And if something does come about, then I think one needs to then take that as a positive, as a definite positive, and then really start, buying the stocks that you have liked post numbers, because there's no denying that, that this consumption slowdown is real. So you need to then sort of go through that list and see which is possibly the sector or the stock that can sort of lead the recovery, and then place your bets according to that, whether it is sector specific or stock specific, and then move on from there. But yes, I think it would be interesting to just wait by now and see what really comes out of the meeting this evening.
Okay, so caution being advocated. As always, there is this tendency to buy the rumor and sell the news. I'm going to come to you, Kunal, on the index and the levels that you see. Do you also advocate caution at this point? We've seen a significant up move between yesterday's session and today.
Overall, yes, means we have seen a more than 300 points of movement, okay, at this level, and right now it is trading at 1100, 160. On a daily chart, the way Nifty has completed its harmonic formation, it was like expected that Nifty might give a good upside movement. Even on an early chart, we have seen a breakout of its, broadening falling wedge formation. So these are this movement are like follow-up movement of this breakout. I am seeing somewhere around from the present level 240, 300. We may see in Tuesday or by Wednesday, while at this level downside support comes at 11,020. So if one can go for a long put SL of 11,020 for a target of 250, 300.
Okay.
Okay, that's the view on Nifty right now. So let's get going and start taking our viewer queries. The first one comes in from Shubham Garg, who's holding 500 shares of NBCC. I just highlighted this stock during the market check. It came out with the numbers yesterday. He's been holding the shares at 125. Let's check what the current price is. He wants to know what to do with this one. His time horizon is pretty much long. Sharmila bought at 125. The current price is 35. The stocks, of course, reacted negatively because the numbers were not great at all. Margin decline, there was no growth seen on the top line as well. What would you advise someone who's been holding NBCC at levels of about 125?
I heard 25, so for a moment I was happy. Because I think my target on the stock would be closer to 55, 60. So from that perspective, I think this is the wrong sort of price to exit the stock. That said, I think the concerns will remain because as you said, the numbers were weak. And recently they've been asked to sort of take over the Amrapali business as well. And, their margin for that, etc. also has been defined. And market hasn't really taken too kindly to all these things. But I think the expectation is that post-monsoon, you will see a pickup on a lot of the infra space and the orders, etc. That flow will get better and which will start reflecting in their earnings. So since he's a long-term investor and I'm assuming that he's looking at anything between 18 to 24 months, then I think he can stay invested and try to sort of lessen the loss. But I think 125 is, you'd have to see a complete sort of rejuvenation in infra as a space, which I think is still some time in coming.
Let's pull up Karnataka Bank and talk about this. Ujjwal Kumar has got a question, and it's a very specific question on the technicals. He's not told us what level he's holding at. Stock is up about 2%. I would assume he's holding because he's asking Kunal for the support levels that you see, at least the near-term supports that you see on this counter.
On a monthly chart, stock has taken a good support somewhere around 80, and today's backs of stock made a bottom of 78. To at this level, support comes at 78. So my view is like hold your position with the SL of 78. We might see a good upside movement. Even one can see even a bounce back up to the level of 95, 96. So support comes at 78.
Okay.
All right, that's Karnataka Bank for you, trading with gains of about 2% today. Bharat Bhushan has a query on BSC. He's been holding 200 shares of this company at about 856, and I think the stock's been trading at lower levels, at least from his buy price 464, and it's down about 1% in trade. What he wants a fundamental view basically on this stock. Sharmila bought at really higher levels. They also came out with their earnings few days back. Nothing to write home about, and we know like they've been struggling with their market share in both cash as well as the F&O segment. Though the company is sitting on good amount of cash, they've been announcing buybacks since the listing. I think buybacks have been announced twice or thrice. What would you advise if somebody's been holding BSC at 856 now?
So I think the reasons why the stock is promoted are reasons I don't like. You hear about the income they get from the companies listed, and those agreements, as well as dividend, the real estate value, etc. But I think precisely, the first thing that you said, that this is an exchange that has been losing market share. So I think from that perspective, you are not really seeing that growth. So which is why I think if you had to buy a stock which had, it was in as an exchange, as a listed play, I would go with MCX because, I think commodity business, there's a far better future in terms not only with derivatives getting introduced in commodities, etc., but, newer products getting introduced in the derivatives, but also the fact that commodities as a market, the size of it can also expand quite a bit from the current size that it's at. So I would recommend a switch to MCX.
Okay. All right. Ayush Jain has got a question, and this has been a little rare in the recent past. He's making profits on a trade. He bought 1,000 shares of SBI Life at a price of 670, and the price is currently above 800. So he's making a decent amount of profit. His question is whether he should hold on at this point, and whether there's a further upside from this point, or whether he should book profits. What's the view here, Kunal?
The way stock has been trading at this level, my view is like to hold this stock because I am seeing a good upside movement even from the present level somewhere around 850, 860. So my view is like to hold this stock for the target of 850, 860. While even I'll say keep trailing SL somewhere around 780. So you can go you can go for a hold with the trailing SL of 780 for the target of 850, 860.
That's SBI Life at 808. Last 1 month, it's up about 6 to 6.5%. The next query is on Yes Bank from Saurav Pathak. Let's just pull up that stock, which is also in news, by the way, today on their QIPs. 1,000 shares he's been holding at 210. Of course, the stock's been trading sub 100 marks. And the QIP, which has been launched, it's a QIP of about $273 million, which is a dilution of almost 10% equity. The floor price is set at about 87.9. And of course, the proceeds of this one will be utilized for capital requirements under Basel III norms. Sharmila, the street was waiting for fundraising. It's come about, but is it enough, or they'll have to raise more?
Yes, so I think that's the next question that needs to get answered, because my view always was that wait for Yes Bank to really get into this dilution, and then the amount they raise, and how that really improves their the capital available to them for expansion, because that was always the concern, that for future expansion they will require that capital, and as things stand, it didn't look like a very good going for them if this didn't happen. But they've taken certain sweeping changes over these last couple of days. So let's just give it a couple of days and let's get clarity on this. But to my mind, this is now a hold, at least for now, because I think this is the event that at least I was waiting for, because now things will, I hopefully start falling in place. But is it enough? I think that's the last bit of question that needs to get answered. And if it is not enough, then what next? What is the management really thinking? So I think just give it another week, and then perhaps we can take a better call. But I think for now, for me, it's a hold.
Okay, all right. It's a hold on Yes Bank. See where that trades. Follow information on the fundraising. Let's pull up Maruti Suzuki and talk about it. It's another counter that's seen significant correction from a highs of 9,500, close to 9,500, not too long back, to levels of, 5,446. It's reclaimed some ground from that. We've got a question from Rishabh Tiwari, who's bought 100 shares at 6,100 for the short term. So he's losing a little ground, but he's asking what he should do in the near term.
Overall, Maruti looks very attractive at this level. On a daily chart, weekly chart, even an hourly chart has given a significant indication for an upside movement. Right now, Maruti is trading 6080. I'm seeing somewhere around 6165 from the present level, and if stock sustain above 6165, even we may see an upside movement up to the level of 6500. So at this level, my view is like to hold on this stock. We may see in 6165, and above it 6500 would be there.
Do watch the commentary in the automotive space though very carefully, and follow the fundamentals, because it's not the best commentary. In fact, just a couple of days back, you had a large number of representatives from the automotive industry talking to the finance minister and asking her to intervene and perhaps try to bolster consumption in the space.
Yep, and that could be in the form of if they look to reduce the GST rate, which the industry has put forth the proposal to the finance minister. But moving on, Abhishek Rai has a query on Tata Steel. Let's just pull up that stock. 1,000 shares he's been holding at 585. He wants a long-term view in this one. He wants to know what to do, and the stock's at 369. Sharmila, in losses, and metal stocks have been under pressure of late. The results of Tata Steel, especially the Europe side of the business, EBITDA per ton, disappointed the street. What would you suggest if somebody's been holding Tata Steel at higher levels?
Yes, so now this is a tricky one, because honestly, things are not looking good for metals as a space, and I think because of this whole US-China issue playing out, and I think for Tata Steel it gets further sort of a little dicey because of the fact of the presence that they have in Europe. They did try to get out of their holding in Europe, and that didn't go through, and so there is added pressure from there. But I think now the stocks are trading at valuations which are at the lower end of the band, which one normally sees for commodity as a play. So if you're reasonably long term, I think you can stay invested at this point in time. But I think that if you are looking for like a very short period of time, then I'm not really seeing things improve on metals as a space, at least for the next year or so.
One sector, Navneet, that's been talked about a lot of late is the insurance space, and particularly life insurance. I think also the data points coming up is that in the first half of the year, they've been able to sell a lot more policies. But particularly in the context of the correcting market, you've had SBI Life, we've already spoken about it. HDFC Life is moved in a similar manner. Abhinav Jaiswal has bought 1,000 shares at level of 430, and he's also asking whether he should book a profit at this point.
No, means even HDFC Life, has been trading in the same manner like SBI Life, and I'm seeing a further upside movement from the present level. Right now, it is trading somewhere around 535, 536. So, my call is like to wait and to hold the stock up to the level of 570. We may see a 570, while downside support comes at for a timing 500. So my view is like hold your position with the trail SL of 500. We may see upside movement up to the level of 570. Over here you can book a profit.
Okay, insurance companies have been bucking the trend. Last 3 months, it's given you returns of about 30%. That's for HDFC Life. Sharmila, let's just pull up KNR Constructions in the meanwhile. Sharmila, Ankit Mishra has written to us and he wants a fundamental view on this stock. If you track KNR Construction, would you advise somebody buying this stock?
No, I'm afraid I don't track this at all.
Okay, we'll move ahead then.
Okay, let's take another one. Well, let's talk about Mayank's query. He's asking, and this is more of a strategy question, Sharmila. Is it a good strategy to buy a holding company with sound management available at a huge discount for 5 to 7 years? And he is talking about KICL, he's talking about Maharashtra Scooters, Bajaj Holdings, well, he's named a few. But what do you think about his strategy?
So yes, I think there are a lot of people who like this strategy where you buy the holding company, and holding companies are typically available at a discount to the parent. But I'm not really in favor of such a strategy. I feel that if you like a company for its basic business only, then you buy it. So you don't buy a company because it holds another company whose business you like. So if you like that business, you buy that business. So if you like Bajaj Auto, buy Bajaj Auto rather than buying the holding company. Because I think that discount is always going to be there. So, and especially at a time like this when a lot of stocks have corrected, it I think to my mind makes better sense to just buy the stock that you actually like rather than trying to buy the holding company and doing it like through a buyer route.
Okay, so Sharmila is advising if you're bullish on a business, buy that stock instead of buying the holding company, which the street typically assigns a holding company discount of about 40 to 50%. Of course, you'll have other companies who are trading at a discount of about 70 to 80%, hence they look attractive at current levels. On Facebook, Tejas Shah has a query on DLF. He's holding 1,000 shares at a price of 165 and he wants to know the near-term trend for this one. Kunal, what he wants to know, should he hold or sell at the levels? He's actually in the money. The current price is 176.
At this level, stock is trading near to his 200 DMA, 178 is 200 DMA. So my view is like he can book a profit somewhere around 180 because stock may face a strong resistance somewhere around 180, and again it can fall up to the level of 165. So my view is like if it comes up to the level of 178, 180, he can book a profit.
Okay. That's the view on DLF. Krishna has got a question on Rbl Bank, and I think a lot of people have questions about Rbl Bank, especially those who have held on in the recent past. The stock is up and about 8%, but if you pull up the last 6 months or the year-to-date chart, you will see that it fell off a cliff not too long back, and that's because the commentary wasn't really very good from the management. So the question to you, Sharmila, is this. From the fundamentals standpoint, do you think that the recent correction is a little overdone and for people people who are holding or perhaps looking to enter into a private bank. Is this the pick for you? Because a lot of people not too long back were talking about RBL very favorably.
Well, I wouldn't recommend a fresh entry simply because, as you said, the management commentary with respect to their book and some of their NPAs rising, etc., needs, I think, another quarter before you take a fresh entry call. But yes, I would suggest that for people who have the stock, they can stay put, because I think that the numbers by themselves are good. It is just that this commentary was sort of not received well by the market. And this is a kind of a situation where if honestly, I think the management did a good thing by flagging off that there could be concerns in the book, rather than coming to a stage where those concerns later on pop up and then the market questions you that if you knew this was happening, why didn't you sort of see this happening earlier? So I think in a sense they've done a good thing by sounding out their concerns. But that said, now I think as I said, for fresh entry you need to see whether their fears come to any sort of root, and if really things look worse for them going ahead. So I think in terms of valuation, the bank looks attractive, but I would hold off buying afresh.
Okay, that's RBL Bank for you, which has bounced back with markets also bouncing back. And by the way, Nifty is almost at the high point of the day as we speak. Sharmila, I'm going to come back to you. Deep has an interesting query. He wants to buy only one stock out of these two, HDFC Bank versus HDFC AMC. Which one would you pick?
I think HDFC Bank, very honestly, because I think that this is the kind of market where you want to buy safely, at least for the moment. And for me, at the end of the day, HDFC AMC is a sort of a market-linked business where you are expecting people to put money into your mutual fund, and then you make money. Sort of the AMC company, listed company, will make money from that. But in terms of bank, I think HDFC Bank is a much older business. Again, I think their track record as far as earnings, etc., go is absolutely impeccable. I think for the first time, perhaps in I don't know how many quarters, or perhaps the first time ever, I've heard HDFC, have a little bit of a doubt over that, their provisioning going up, or in terms of their book. So I think that was perhaps the only negative that one can really point out for HDFC Bank in the longest time. Otherwise, as I said, their numbers have been absolutely impeccable. So I think in a market like this, I would really go with safety and I would buy HDFC Bank.
Okay, let's pull up the last 1 month's chart for escorts, because we've got a very specific query from Vivek Bhuta on this counter. He's talking about the recent up move, which is not significant. If you actually look at the charts, it's moved up from levels of just above 450 or thereabouts. He's asking if there is any sign of a reversal of trend, and accordingly, one with a long position in escorts should hold it, or should they exit at this point and book losses?
At this level, if you talk about escorts, somewhere around 440, stock has formed its bottom, and right now stock is trading at 490. It is somewhere trading above its 21 DMA. So for the time being, it indicates that the stock is in downtrend. If it closes at this level for a couple of days, we may see an upside movement afterwards up to the level of 560, 580. So my view is like to hold on this stock.
Okay, hold on to escorts. The last 1 month it's down about 8%, but you are seeing some bit of bounce back for the entire space. All right, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment, but before we begin, just a request to both our experts, Sharmila as well as Kunal, please keep your answers short so that we can accommodate a lot more queries. And this one is on Nalco. I'm going to come to you, Sharmila. Ankur has been holding 700 shares at 48 and currently it's at 44. What he wants to know is, can he look to continue holding his shares of Nalco for the next 1 to 2 years?
Yes, I think if you have a 2 year sort of a perspective, you can continue to hold on to Nalco.
Okay, coming back to you, Sharmila, on this one, Parag Milk, it's seen significant correction in the recent past. How do you see the long term? Deparpan is asking.
Well, honestly, I think, I've not liked some of the decisions that they made in the recent past, so I would really avoid this stock.
Okay, pull up trend. Shefali has been holding 400 shares at 435. Kunal, Shefali wants to know, will it cross the level of 455, and also what should be the support level? Okay, that's for Karnataka Bank. Leave out. Just for trend, what are the charts indicating?
Chart indicates a good upside movement. It takes a support of 430. So I'm seeing somewhere around the 465. And it breaks 465. Even we may see an upside movement up to the level of 495. So my view is like to hold on this stock with the trail SL of 440 for the target of 465 and 480.
Okay, Sharmila, coming back to you on Balmer Lorry, would you recommend a fresh entry? Arumaga wants to know.
No, I'm sorry, I don't track that.
Okay, Power Grid, Kunal, if you could open that chart. Shashank has bought Power Grid at 186. He wants to know if he should look to sell. He's in the money at 203 is the current market price.
At this level, he should wait. He should hold this stock because the way stock has been trading, I'm seeing somewhere around 215, and it breaks, then 225 would be there. To hold with your stock with the SL of 200, 215, 225 would be there.
Jui has bought into UFO movies, but at higher levels. Sharmila, 350 was her buy price. It's currently at 163. Does she hold on at this point?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the stock.
UFO movies.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't track that.
Sharmila, I'm going to come back to you. Any view on future consumer for the next 5 years?
No, I'm sorry, again, I don't track this.
Okay, last view, would you recommend a fresh entry into Apex frozen food? Are we asking for a fundamental view?
I'm sorry, again, I don't track.
Okay, fair enough. All right, but we've covered a lot of stocks in this program. I'd like to thank both our guests. Thank you so much, Sharmila and Kunal, for helping our viewers with all of the queries that you did answer. A good weekend to both of you, and indeed, a good weekend to all our viewers.
Yes, of course. And do remember, we're just a tweet, post, or a call away. So please keep your queries coming, and we promise to address most of them through our shows. For all our previous episodes, you can visit our YouTube channel or our website, BloombergQuint.com. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint. Power Lunch comes up next.